What up, everybody? Time to do a little video. We're going to do a PSA, a public service announcement, and we're going to talk about a topic that is important to me and, in my opinion, should be more important to the majority of the knife enthusiast community. And what that is the legal ramifications and responsibilities of carrying a knife daily. You have to take into account the way we look at knives as a tool first and a weapon second is not the way that law enforcement or the legal system looks at knives. Law enforcement and the legal system don't have to deal with tools. They deal with something when it becomes a weapon, so that's how they look at it. You have to keep that in mind and filter every decision that you make as far as your carry of knives through their view, because once there is an issue, their view is the predominant view, not yours. All right, once you are in the legal system, your opinion does not matter, only the opinion of the legal system. I'm a member of multiple online forums and Facebook pages within the knife enthusiast community. And I see fairly often somebody will post, they're just not very knowledgeable, they're new to knives, they're not knowledgeable about their local laws. So they post a question. I don't know what my local laws are, I don't know how to find out what are my local laws. Okay, there's two issues with doing that, two problems. The first is, for those people that respond in a helpful way and they give information, you cannot count on that information being correct. You have to quantify, qualify, and confirm all information that is given to you. And you need a source to do that. The second thing is there is also fully half, if not more, of the responses to these questions are from internet keyboard warriors. And their response typically, let me paraphrase, is F this, F that, I will carry whatever I want, whenever I want to protect myself and my family. I don't care what the law is. Okay, those are the last people you ever want to take advice from, because regardless of whether they believe their own bullshit or not, I mean, let's face it, these are guys sitting behind a computer desk and a keyboard, eating nachos and drinking a Diet Coke, and they just want to seem like a Billy Badass online. You don't want to take advice from these people because their advice is break the law and be a criminal yourself. Well, that's terrible advice. One of our number one goals in carrying a edged tool, a knife, or a firearm, is to protect ourselves from criminals. We don't want to be criminals ourselves. And these guys that come online, the Billy Badasses and keyboard ninjas, it's just insane that their advice is to break the law. So overall, going to forums is not a good way to get information or advice as far as the legality of knives. One good place is the organization Knife Rights. Their website is kniferights.org. They are a nonprofit advocacy group for knife rights for knife enthusiasts. They are very active, they are very aggressive in their advocacy, and I have seen that firsthand in my state. Kniferights.org came into the state of Tennessee in 2012 or 2013, and they fought like a rabid dog for our knife rights. And radically, they were responsible for the knife rights or knife laws radically changing. They did away with the legal blade limit. They did away with the double edge prohibition. They did away with the automatic knives prohibition. It is pretty much legal to carry any knife of any blade length or blade configuration that we want in the state of Tennessee, other than ballistic knives. And that's including automatic knives. We can carry automatic knives now. They also did a preemption for the state, which means that the state law preempts all local ordinance laws. So your local ordinance, city or county, cannot make up a law that goes against the state law. So it's an even blanket law for the entire state. This organization put in a lot of time and a lot of effort in my state, and I know for a fact they are doing the same in other states. They're a fantastic organization to get information from and a fantastic organization to support. Now, the next thing is, sometimes it's hard to find out what your local laws are. There is actually an app for cell phones and tablets and whatnot called Legal Blade, and it is sponsored by Knife Rights. You can download it onto your iOS or Android device, and it has got all your local and state laws on it. You just look it up by state and county, and it is, from what I've seen, the most accurate and the most up-to-date source of information. It even has a feature allowing feedback from users in order to react to changes in local laws. So it stays very up-to-date and it's very accurate. It is a great source for your local laws. Now, that covered, let's go ahead and talk about the knives themselves. Like I said, I'm very lucky in my state. I don't really have any restrictions on any type of knife that I would personally carry, whether it's a folder or a fixed blade, an automatic, whatever. But many states do have restrictions, and some quite a few restrictions. So we're going to talk about how this fits into the legal system and law enforcement system. And as I've said, law enforcement and the legal system first look at knives as weapons. There's nothing we can do to change that, because in their world, that's the only way they deal with knives. The only situation that a prosecuting attorney deals with a knife is it was used as a weapon. Nobody ever sues anybody for using their knife to cut open a cardboard box. Okay, so they don't view knives as a utility tool, they view it as a weapon. And so do law enforcement officers. You have to keep in mind that no matter what you think about the laws or about the knife you are carrying, it does not matter. It only matters what the legal system thinks. If you do not like your local laws, breaking the law is not the answer. The electoral process is the answer. If you live in a place and it is very liberal and they're very restrictive as far as knives and firearms, you need to use your vote to replace those representatives with more realistic representation that understands that a knife is not just a deadly weapon, it is a tool. All right, so don't go out and break the law to fight against the system, because all you've done is made yourself a criminal. All right, it does not matter if you've never been in trouble with the law, you pay your taxes, it doesn't matter. As soon as you break the law, you are a criminal. Why would you make yourself a criminal? I mean, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Because once you do and you go into the system, it's impossible to protect your family then, because you're in jail. There's nobody out there protecting them. Okay? If you carry a knife and you live in a state that has a legal blade length limitation, all right, this knife is advertised at a 3 3/4 inch blade length. But I want to show you this. If you actually measure the knife blade, all right, depending on where you measure that blade at, it could be 3 3/4 inches or it could be 4 inches. Let me ask you this. How do you think a prosecuting attorney is going to measure this blade to determine its length when criminally prosecuting you? You think they're going to measure it from the tip to the closest point of the handle? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to measure it from the tip to the very farthest exposed part of the blade. That is how you have to measure your knife blades if you have a blade length limitation in your area. That way, no matter what happens, no matter how it is measured, whether it is measured like the manufacturer, it's measured the way you do, it does not matter. You have measured it at its absolute limits, from the tip of the blade to the furthermost exposed portion of the blade. You are 100% covered as far as that is concerned. That's the way you have to do it. It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. The law doesn't care if you agree. It's not aware if you agree or don't agree. The law does not react to you. You have to react to the law. It is not the law's responsibility to accommodate you. It is our responsibility to work within the limitations of the law. And that's all part of it. If you live in a state that does not allow double-edged carry, why would you carry a double-edged knife? They don't do anything that a single-edged knife doesn't do. Okay, you may not be able to do back cuts, but, I mean, let's face it, how many knife fights do you get into every day? I'm 47 years old. I've lived in some pretty bad areas in my life. I've never been in a knife fight once in my life. Not once. I've never even come close. I've had firearms pulled on me. I've been shot at. I've had to draw a firearm on another person. I've never been in a knife fight in my life. So why would I break my local law and carry a knife that is not legal for something that the percentages say is not going to happen? It doesn't matter if I'm carrying a fixed blade or a folder. It doesn't matter, guys. It's your responsibility to follow your local laws. And as I've already said, you don't like the law? That's fine. Don't break the law. Change the law. That's what the electoral process is for. That's what advocacy groups are for. Support these groups. Vote people out of office that infringe on your rights and vote people in that will support your rights. That is how you change things. You don't go and break the law yourself, because our legal system is very funny in the United States. It's really no longer representative of the common people. It typically only supports the elite, the 1% at the top. You're going to have a fight on your hands if you ever have to use a knife to defend yourself, whether you're in the right or not. They're going to come after you. It's going to be a witch hunt. If you are in the right, it's easier to defend yourself. If you have broken the law and what type of knife you are carrying, it's going to be nearly impossible to defend yourself. And even if you don't face legal liability, there are still many states in the United States that do not protect you from a follow-up civil suit. All right? Because Bobby the gangbanger that is out raping and killing and stealing, his mama at home still thinks he's an angel. If you have to defend yourself against him and you hurt him or kill him, she will come after you with a vengeance, and they will drag out every photo of when he was 7 years old, going to church, clean cut, wearing a button-up shirt and looking like a little angel. All right? If you use an illegal weapon, whether you are in the right or not, you are going to be raped in the legal system, period. Why take the chance on that? You will never ever catch me carrying an illegal weapon ever, regardless of what I think of the law, because I know the law does not care what I think about it. Once I have to use any knife, it is a weapon. If it is an illegal weapon, I will face the ramifications of that, and I will be responsible for knowingly and willingly carrying an illegal weapon. In my opinion, that's just not an equal trade-off. You want to protect your family. You have a 3.5-inch blade length limit. Why carry a 3 3/4-inch blade length knife? That 1/4 inch is not a night and day difference. It is not going to make that much of a difference when you are sticking it in somebody, because generally people don't like to be stabbed with a knife. It doesn't matter if it's a 2.5-inch blade, a 3.5-inch blade, or a 5-inch blade. They don't like being stabbed with a knife. It is not natural to have a sharp piece of steel shoved into your body. So there's very little trade back in carrying an illegal weapon as far as that goes. There's actually no positive trade on that. It's only going to be negative after the event, because like I say, it's impossible to defend yourself when you're carrying an illegal weapon. You do not want to make yourself a criminal in order to defend against criminals. That is not logical in any shape, form, or fashion, guys. And the whole point of this video is it's our responsibility to know and to follow the laws. The law has no responsibility to educate us. We are responsible for educating ourselves. Use the sources that I've given you. Use common sense. If it's not legal, don't carry it. Okay? There is no way you're going to justify that in court. None. You cannot justify breaking the law knowingly in court. You just can't do it. There's just no attorney, no matter how much you pay them, is going to be able to argue that it's okay, you broke the law. They can't do it, guys. That's not how the legal system works. You will be held responsible for breaking the law, period. I'm sorry to tell you that. I'm sorry that I can't come on like the Billy Badasses and keyboard warriors and tell you, screw it, break the law. It doesn't matter if you're defending yourself and your family, because it does matter. Research it. There are plenty of cases where people were in the right in defending themselves and their family, and they were persecuted and their lives destroyed by the legal system because they didn't follow the letter of the law. And you don't want to, on top of having to harm or kill another human being, which is not something that any of us should want to do, you don't want to have to, on top of that horrendous decision, then have to face an insurmountable legal battle because you didn't follow your local laws. If you don't like the law, don't break it, change it. I have seen it done personally, and I know for a fact it can happen. All right, guys. I appreciate you watching my videos, every one of them. I say God bless you to every one of you, and have a great day.